But the project that I just described was a project that was completely one with communication, not with engineering.
That's right.
Nothing.
Communication means, okay, this morning I just discussed with this morning about Confucius said, okay, you need to listen what he's saying. I said, no, not what he's saying, what he's intending. Usually Japanese people contract, you're writing here, you're saying that. No. What is his true intention? Behind the scene. The sort of intention we need to grasp what his true intention, not superficially, okay? This is Japanese people are very weak to grasp, okay, this is a contract, okay,
Right.
just paper. That's it, let's go. No. What is true meaning, what he's thinking about? Sort of area is, our educational system is insufficient. That's the reason, okay, I just enforced to study the Confucianism. Confucianism is, okay, it's a law. Contract is law.
Right.
And then on the above, we have our more higher priority is moral. Moral rule.
Right. In Japan, yeah?
In Japan, moral rule.
So in Western society, it's like this.
Oh, wait a minute, but I think, tell the truth, okay, they said like this. Law is, okay, we discuss after event happen. Moral is different. Events not happened yet,
Right.
okay? Moral is event not happened yet. They are propriety, they say, propriety. Propriety means what you're talking about in the true meaning, what's happening, just guess. And we try to avoid problem,
Right.
and we try to make consensus each other. But law is actually what already happened. Okay, happened, just overrun. Now you're going to pay, or sort of thing.
Right.
Over law is happened.
Right.
But propriety is kind of moral propriety is not happened yet.
But we try to believe.
We try to avoid problem.
Okay. Yeah. Well, but we actually what we are saying in Western society is that we are using the law in order to avoid discussions when things happen. If they happen, we know how to deal with it. At that, if you still need to come up with a solution at that point, it will be too late, because if it's unspecified, it's very difficult to get into a satisfactory solution. So why do we focus on making specifications and legal constrictions and all these things? That is, if they happen, we have already agreed to it at a time when we were not in conflict yet. So when you have to decide at the moment you're in conflict and you still need to come up with a just solution, at the moment of conflict, it's very unlikely that you will reach a good solution. The legal conditions of a contract will help you to make a decision at the moment things go wrong, and the point of making these arrangements is to do that in a time before you enter into the problems, because
So this is not law.
that's the law.
No, before law. Law is you try to make judgment after something happens.
No, that's not why we make all these thick contracts in for example in a project, in a construction project or in a software development project. We make all these regulations because if this happens, then we need to act accordingly. If that happens, then we act accordingly. So if we have specified that, then at a time when we were still hopeful about the project would be successful for both the customer and the supplier, if we specified it at that time, it will be automatically go into effect. If it doesn't go into effect, then we have the legal system to protect the interest of both parties.
One way is okay, system proposal. Okay, we are going to propose 5 million proposal, and we're going to show them scope, but they ask us for discount. Okay, 20% discount, 4 million, 4 million. Then just we're going to do that like that, so forth. But But before contract, usually Japanese people do not touch sensitive area.
Right. Right.
Especially
That's different.
interface.
Yeah, that's different.
So if they're going to touch interface, then maybe this kind of interface happens, interface with the current system, more difficult area, and maybe they will not give us job.
Right, exactly.
So what are they going to do, the Westerners people? They're going to discuss in detail?
Yes. Because without a scope, we will not, without a scope, without a contract, we will not even start. But what we will do in general is to put all the difficulties that you might expect in an interface, put them on the table and say, okay, but in that case, why don't we, because we understand that you have budget constraints, why don't we cut it up in 2 projects and then try to make it work in project number 1 and project number 2. Project number 1 is trying to migrate from system A to system B, right? So basically keep everything happy, and then project number 2 you get all the goodies that you want for your new software. Usually it ends with project number 1. So basically you invest a lot of money, you just go from A to B and you have shit. Basically you just spend a lot of money and go from software from brand A to brand B.
You mean you don't proceed on project B?
Yes, very often happens, because there are, and that's another thing, the software supplier is really usually the client doesn't have enough money to do it, right? So what they want, it's impossible. So the software supplier is going to specify exactly what he's going to do, 100% clear. We're going to do this, and that. Then the moment the users come on board, they say, yes, but well, what about this, or what about that? Yeah, sorry, it's not in our contract. If you want it, sure, we will add it to our contract, but it's out of scope. That means more budget, and if there's no budget, sorry, next project. There is a big discrepancy between the supplier and the customer in this case, because the customer doesn't know a lot of things. They don't have the experience with the software.
I think those areas with Japanese and Westerners have a lot of differences exist, I believe. And I don't know what, for example, Japanese people not so much discuss each other, right? They don't like it.
Right.
So
well, that's also the topic of today. So we are very much, we enjoy discussing. We also enjoy finding flaws in other people's or in your own reasoning, because it will bring us closer to the truth. Proper, we will look at proper today. This is very important in order to get a better understanding. Discussion, arguing, debate is actually a way forward. It's a way of falsifying your beliefs, falsifying your vision of the truth, falsifying your ideas in order to get to a better understanding.
This is a Japanese people very big point. Like what to say, baroa. It means courage to ask you,
right?
And they're reluctant to ask them. Right?
Example, minpaku.
What is it?
Minpaku.
Why?
I talked with Booking.com. Booking.com is one of the big platforms in Minpaku. Airbnb is the biggest. Booking.com is the second biggest in Minpaku. They were negotiating, or they were in discussion with the tourist agency. And I have a good contact at Booking.com, so I met these people once every 3-4 weeks. While they were negotiating, and I was asking them, of course, for advice on what to do. I said, well, don't worry, it's not going to be that hard, it's not going to be that strict. I advise you to wait till the law becomes crystal clear. Don't need to do anything yet. Then June 15th, the law was going to go into effect. All of a sudden, on June 1st, the tourist agency demanded that every Airbnb booking was to be cancelled if there was no permit yet. What? What? This was completely fell out of thin air. But the way that these discussions between the tourist agency and Airbnb and Booking.com had been going on was completely not touching the essence of the law and how they were going to implement it. They have been completely on a different page with the tourist agency. The tourist agency had their ideas, but they were not gutsy enough or willing to just say, okay, we're going to do this and going to do that. Airbnb, on the other hand, who was the leader of the Meatpacker delegation, was not gutsy enough to really ask, okay, but what are you going to do? What do you really want us to do in this case? They both didn't really want to touch the essence